Lightroom lacks Photoshop's ability to place images on layers. With layers, it's easy to blend the best of two images into one, as you'll see in this video. Let's start here in Lightroom, and just for fun, I'll try to use Lightroom's new improved spot removal tool to remove this distracting street lamp pole from a vacation shot taken by my friend Victor Gavenda in Copenhagen. So I'm going to go ahead and select the spot removal tool over here in the toolbar under the histogram in Lightroom. I'm going to make sure my opacity is set to 100%, feather it slightly, and I want to place my brush so the size is just a little bit larger than the top of the pole. If I hold the Shift key and click and then come down to the bottom of the pole and click, what Lightroom does with the new spot removal tool is it goes and follows that the vertical line that I just created between the 2 points. And then I can move this, my source, around and try to get it to line up properly. But I can't get this to work. This is going to be really complex. Sometimes the spot removal tool works really well. And in this case, it's just not going to do the trick. So we're going to need to go over to Photoshop and use a really cool technique that will work a lot better. So let me go ahead and remove that and get out of the spot removal tool. Now over here, Victor accidentally or wisely, depending on how you look at it, took 2 shots. And one shot has the pole in one position, and the other shot has the pole in another position. So they're at a slightly different angle. And this is really going to make our job a lot easier. So I'm going to bring both photos into Photoshop. I'm going to select them down here in the film strip and right-click and edit in. Now this time, I'm going to select Edit in, Open as Layers in Photoshop. I want to bring them in as layers. So I'll go ahead and do that. And you can see now Photoshop, they're coming into Photoshop as layers over on the right-hand side. Now I want to move over to 8-bit. Normally I might leave this at 16-bit just to get the most possible quality. But just to speed things up a little bit, I'm going to go down to 8 bits per channel. All right, so now I have both of these images on 2 separate layers. I want to select both layers, and I'm going to do that by holding the Command or Control key and now selecting the other layer. We had one layer selected, now both layers are selected. They're both highlighted, and they're both visible. And then I'm going to come up over here, and I'm going to select Edit, and then Auto Align Layers. This is really the kind of the powerful technology that makes all this work so well. And under the Auto Align Layers options, I have several options. Auto is basically going to do all the work for me. This is the same technology that PhotoMerge uses to analyze images for commonality and then lines them up so they precisely overlap. You can either use auto setting, which is going to analyze the source image and then apply either a perspective or a cylindrical layout, depending on which produces a better composite, or reposition only, which aligns the layers and matches overlapping content, but doesn't transform or stretch or skew any of the source layers. You know, I go back and forth between the two. Sometimes auto works really well, and other times reposition works better. I have tried reposition on this example already, and frankly, it didn't do as good a job for me as auto. So I'm going to go ahead and just select auto now, knowing that that's going to do a better job in this particular case. Select OK, and now the images on separate layers are all aligned. And once they're aligned like this, we can do some pretty powerful editing to blend the two, to bring out the best of both of them, to make one really good image. It held everything just in place. All right, so now I'm going to select just the top layer, and I need to create a mask. And I'm going to do that just by coming down here at the bottom of the Layers palette and click on the Add Vector or Layer Mask icon there. And I want to be sure I'm on the mask itself, right? You can see in the layers palette, there's the white square. Next, I'm going to use the brush tool and use the options in the option bar to set the size of the brush and edge softness. For this job, I'm going to select a fairly hard-edged brush so I can get rid of only the pole. I will also make sure that my mode is set to normal, opacity is set to 100%, and flow is also set to 100%. I'm going to paint with black. So I want to make sure that my foreground color is set to that color. And you can see down here in these color swatches, it is. Making sure that the mask is selected in the layer palette, I place my brush at the top of the lamp pole, hold the Shift key, and click. Then I'll move my cursor to the bottom of the pole and click again. Voila! Only the pole disappears. If you look over here at the layer palette, you'll see my mask has a streak of black where the pole would be, effectively masking it out and revealing the layer below. Now I'm going to do the same thing here with the second pole. I need to make a smaller brush. I'm going to use the bracket key, the left bracket key, and make that a smaller brush. Click and come down to the bottom here. I just want to get rid of this pole, not the other pole. There. Perfect. See, it's not always going to happen the first time, but if you play around and get the size of the brush changed a little bit, maybe the hardness, soften up the brush a little bit, or harden it a little bit, you're going to get an amazing effect really quickly. When you're finished, merge your layers by using Shift, Command or Control E, and then return to Lightroom for further cropping or editing as needed. Okay, let's take another example and use basically the same technique. In this example, it's a very common occurrence where you take a group picture and somebody's eyes are closed. In this case, it's this young girl here. Her eyes are closed or looking down. We have another picture, however, where she's looking straight at the camera. So what I want to do is take these two pictures and basically mix and match them and get the best out of both of them to make one picture. So in Lightroom, I'm going to make a selection of the two images. I'm going to right-click, edit in, and I want to open as layers in Photoshop, once again, like we did previously. And we've gone through all this, so we'll do this fairly quickly. We close the history palette by clicking here. And I'm going to select the second layer because I need both layers selected. And then I'm going to select Edit and then Auto Align Layers. In the previous example, I used Auto, and I just found that it worked best. In this case, I found Reposition to work best. So I'll go ahead and select that, select OK. Now it's doing the work in the background for me. Once that's done, I'm going to select the top layer, and I'm going to make a mask by selecting the mask icon down here. I have my brush tool selected already. And let me just go through the different settings. I have the brush set to 60 pixels, pretty hard brush. That's what I want, 93%. Mode is normal, opacity 100%, and flow 100%. All right, so let me go ahead and make a little bit larger brush by using the right bracket key. And again, I'm going to be painting with my black foreground. You can see that's set down here to black. And I'm going to paint on the mask, and watch what happens when I paint over her. She magically now is appearing to look at the camera. I can enlarge a little bit using Command or Control plus, and I can go through it. It's that easy. Now I have a picture where she's looking at the camera. Now, out of curiosity, I'm going to see what I can do down here with this girl. Maybe I can make her looking a little bit better as well. So I'm just using the same technique where I'm revealing the layer below by masking the top layer. This is taking a little bit more work, but I'm getting a good effect very quickly. Now, this area over here, if I want to go back and I've overdone the mask, I'm going to use the X key, and that switches my foreground color to white. And now I'm bringing back, you can see I'm painting white now. I'm overdoing it on purpose. So basically I'm undoing what I did with the black. Hit the X key again, and now I can go through and mask out with the black. All right, I'm probably going too deep into this, but what about this girl here? Yeah, let's have her look at the camera. So you can see I can really go around and pick out the best of both images. There we go. Okay. All right, let me zoom back a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and save this image now, and then we'll look at it over in Lightroom. Yeah, in this case I didn't merge the layers. Last time I did. The reason I didn't is because if I merge the layers, I've now lost the ability to go back and actually re-edit that image. So I'm going to leave these layers intact with the mask. I can go back if I want to. If I find that I didn't get it exactly right, I can go back now into Photoshop and re-edit it. Okay, so let's see what we got. We have a picture now where everybody's looking at the camera. Well, most people are, as opposed to this image here where the girl in the middle was looking down, and here she's looking up, and here we have everybody looking the way they should. Okay, so this is a really great technique, moving from Lightroom, going into Photoshop with two images, using auto-align and layers and masking, and creating one great picture out of two okay ones.